So we've been doing some Denzel films. Tonight, we've got Denzel in the air. It's kind of a version to me of Bad Lieutenant piloting a plane, fucked up. He's drunk, but he's also hungover, coked out, in a fucking windstorm. Rick, you suggested this film. I know why, but I'm asking you why.
As we were talking off mic a few minutes ago, it's weird. A movie watching experience, whether it's an initial viewing or a viewing that you come back to 3, 4, 5 years, 10 years, in this case, 13 years later, because this is a movie from 2012.
Flight. The movie is Flight.
The movie is Flight, yeah. Denzel Washington, Robert Zemeckis directing. It's a film that kind of triggers things in your head. I think the beauty of cinema are the relations that the viewer has with the story that's being told, not just in watching it and being entertained or even being enlightened by somebody else's story, but the reflection that they have in watching it. Now, between the two of us, and we've known each other for a little over 15 years now that we've been friends. We've known each other through good times, bad times, questionable times for each of us, where we're sitting there trying to figure out what the fuck it is that our life is about. You know me well enough to know that when I watch a movie, there is more of it's about as close as a spiritual experience that I can have. It's my church. It's really my embracing of the human experience. And I know a lot of people are going to be like, what kind of new age or what kind of, egotistical bullshit is that? But it's coming from the heart. I mean, there's really an experience in understanding things better than you do before the movie that you're watching. And I think watching Denzel in this film, although I was never a full-blown alcoholic, I definitely had my issues with alcohol. And when you watch it on screen and you see it dramatized and you see the roots of an addiction and self-hatred, self-disgust, whatever it is, looking for the good time that slowly becomes the bad time. I mean, it's all there. And when you see a great actor embody that struggle, it helps put things into perspective, and it helps you understand your own demons, angels, whatever the fuck else you want to say is factoring into your pain or into your achievements. And I hadn't seen this movie in quite some time, but us we did start with Malcolm X, I believe, right? There was no plan to do a Denzel Washington retrospective.
No, I mean, and this is like, I want to get into his filmography, like in this episode to talk about. So it's like that would require a year,
Absolutely, it would take some real dedication if we did two, even if we just did two Denzel films a month. It would take a year easily of films that I would like to talk about, of films that challenge a great deal of the movie star role versus the actor's role versus the storyteller's role. So we've seen Spike Lee's Malcolm X, a masterpiece and probably his finest performance in film, if not one of the finest performances ever captured in cinema. I don't say that lightly. I say it full well knowing what has come before, what has come after it, what, the entire craft of cinematic acting, taking into account Brando, De Niro, Daniel Day-Lewis, Meryl Streep, all of the greats, the star turns versus the more traditional stage to screen kind of whatever you want to talk about. So there is something about this man that exudes honesty and a certain level of trust, a certain level of righteousness, which can be a good thing and a bad thing. But when I watch his films, I feel like it's one of the few times where I feel like I'm watching a true artist, somebody who isn't just showing up to collect a paycheck, somebody who's actually leaving it on the screen. And I think he's on the short list of actors who have never given a bad performance, and that would be Daniel Day-Lewis, Meryl Streep, Robert Duvall. I can't think of anybody else. Brando certainly phoned it in. Burton, Peter O'Toole, De Niro, Hoffman, Pacino, they've all collected checks, but I can't say.
Gene Hackman's never given a bad performance.
There's a movie called Loose Cannons where he works with Dan Aykroyd as a cop, and it's a pretty fucking bad movie. I don't know how bad he is in it, but
bad movie.
Yeah,
but I don't know. I haven't seen it, so I don't know. But
it's pretty fucking embarrassing overall. Yeah. Even I don't think he's. I don't know. I'd have to go back and see it. I have to wonder if he's the best thing about a bad movie.
Let's pretend that film doesn't even exist.
Okay.
Because it sounds like it barely does. So.
It's really bad. It's really bad, and nobody has seen it. But there's a handful of actors where there's a certain level of honesty and a dedication and love for not just the medium of cinema, but the artistic expression of acting. And watching this movie and the Crimson Tide, which is a film that I didn't particularly care for, but was overwhelmed by the performances of both Mr. Hackman and Mr. Washington.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, it's fun. It's a good time. But watching Denzel Washington, and I speak for myself solely, but I could speak also for every other actor that I've ever taken classes with or been on stage with. What the fuck are we even thinking approaching it when somebody like that exists? It's like you don't even come close. You're a fucking embarrassed. I realize how watching Denzel Washington on screen makes me realize how bad an actor I was. I mean, like really indicating like just not maybe moments of capturing a certain level of honesty, but overall just fucking embarrassing when you see somebody like him. And it's there's just in this film is obvious Oscar bait. Storytelling, addiction, the storytelling of addiction, overcoming demons, recognizing one's own self-destruction. All of it is there for obvious Oscar bait. And at no time in the little over 2 hours that I'm watching this film does it ever register with me that it's anything less than honest. It's a beautifully realized film with a nuanced performance from Denzel Washington that nothing, maybe I'm being a little bit too naive, but there is nothing in this film where I tell myself that doesn't ring true or he wouldn't do that. Even the ending, which some people might say that's a little bit of a cop-out and it wouldn't.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah. I think I'll say this much: in the hands of a lesser director, because I got to give Zemeckis his credit. Zemeckis is a very underrated director. If you look at his filmography, this is a man who does incredibly good work. Even if you hate Forrest Gump, there's still moments in that film that are beautifully realized. At some point, we're going to have to go over that film, as much as I don't necessarily want to, but I think it's I think it's an important film.
Within the context, I don't remember specifically, but I know that when we were doing our back in 1900 and whatever,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
when we did a series on Vietnam, I know it came up.
It had to have come up. It was an important. Vietnam was a very important element of that film, and it cast a shadow over the rest of the film that didn't take place in Vietnam. But it was the specter, and but also in the way that Vietnam has always had a weird kind of shadow over my life, growing up in a generation of uncles and older men in my life that knew that experience, that went there, that lost a lot in doing that. Zemeckis handled a great deal of that beautifully. There's some really sloppy elements of it, and it's shitty in a lot of respects, but it's a hit and miss kind of film. The point is, he's a great director. I say that without reservation. And in this film, I think you're tackling, you want to talk about after school special kind of shit. This is that. And yet, it's so much more honest and adult and moving in a way that can only come from a true understanding of that sickness. And it's funny because what I like about the film is that it doesn't go into this whole, it shows certain elements of his life before the alcoholism, but it's all in respect to how he selfishly remembers the things that have brought him to this place in his life. He's not a good man in this film. He's an angry, selfish, egotistical prick of a man. But in order to achieve that kind of thing, you have to have a certain level of charm. And Denzel Washington has that charm. That smile, that walk on, that when you can walk onto a plane high as fuck, coked out of your mind, somehow leveled from a night of drinking and whoring, and people know it, but they're willing to just accept and ignore. He captures something that's very true and very real, if you've known people like that. And I've known a few, not a whole lot, but I've known enough to know that there's a level of charm in the self-destruction, and there's a level of victimization, self-victimization, and lack of responsibility. The notes are all hit in this film, and I think what makes it a brilliant performance and a great film. I mean, it's a great film, is the honesty in which the story is told, and it's not told in such a way as to make him the victim. He's the antagonist of his own story. but it's a powerful statement on storytelling, in that you're following him, and the sympathy that you do have is for him, and not necessarily an absolution of his behavior, but an understanding and a belief in why he would make the decisions that he makes in order to become the man that he needs to become. I think it's a brilliant performance. I think it's up there with his Malcolm X performance. He should have won an Oscar for this film. I don't know who we lost it to, but it was the first time that he was nominated since
Training Day.
Yeah, Training Day, which I think is an overrated film. Fun, good times, but it's almost like it's a cartoon character. He's great in that film, but it is a cartoon performance of excessiveness that I don't think could actually take place the way it does. That's my opinion on that. So, I've rambled.
Go ahead.
Please, I've rambled.
No.
Now I'm really interested in what your attitude is on this film.
Well, I'm looking at Zemeckis' filmography,
Mm-hmm.
and this is, I don't really know the movies after this, but this is probably his heaviest. I mean, all right, I Want to Hold Your Hand. So
It's a fun little sweet movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not this.
No, it's not this at all.
1941. I don't know that film.
It is a sloppy, crazy fucking mess of a movie that I love, but it's not a great film. It's a fun time.
Yeah, I mean, I'm familiar, but I'm not like, I don't know the movie, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Used Cars, same thing. I've seen it. Do I know it? No. I know you love this film.
I love that film. Yeah. But it's also, when we've talked about this, the time in which I saw it and the foundation that it has in my movie watching experience. I was very young when I saw that movie, and I don't remember anything making my parents laugh as hard as that movie, and it stays with me. So I'm biased.
Yeah, because it's so personal. That's a different thing.
Mm-hmm.
If you were to say, I've never seen a depiction of myself on the film like when I rolled that car. That's a different, Romancing the Stone, 1984. We've touched on that.
Yeah.
So Michael Douglas, you've called it the Michael Douglas's Indiana Jones, basically.
Yeah. It's basically what it is. Yeah.
Back to the Future.
All three films. Yeah.
All three films.
Mm-hmm.
We all know what that means. Classic, but it's not Flight, and
No.
that doesn't mean better. That doesn't mean worse. It's just kind of like one of these places that we're getting to, which is like a moment in his filmography that's, for the most part, it's unique. Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
That, I would say, is both a technological, visual, and cinematic masterpiece.
Oh, I mean, we did an episode.
We did an episode, yeah.
Death Becomes Her.
Fun, good times, yeah.
Right.
Not a great film, but a fun film.
Trespass.
He wrote that film with his writing partner Bob Gale. That was directed by Walter Hill. That's not a Zemeckis film.
But it's written by.
Yeah.
It's on his
IMDb. It's part of his filmography.
Like, it's like Bordello of Blood. Like he
mm-hmm.
which is not good, but it's also can be fun because it's fucking Tales from the Crypt.
Mm-hmm.
But it's in the universe of Zemeckis.
Sure.
Forrest Gump.
hmm which we will talk about.
Obviously, Vietnam, dark shit, but
Mhm.
it's not this. Contact,
I've never
based on
seen,
the Carl Sagan
so
book.
yeah,
Oh, you've never seen it?
I've never seen
Um,
Contact. No, that's
yeah, I keep forgetting about
Matthew
that shit.
McConaughey and Foster.
Oh, it's Foster and McConaughey.
Yeah, Foster and McConaughey. Yeah, I'm sorry, she is the star. Yeah, she is. Let's put it
Um,
in. Let's put it in perspective. Yes, you're right.
especially for back then, you
Yeah,
know.
and she deserves
Well,
it. She's good. Yeah. So
yeah. Well, Life Beneath. I haven't seen that, but
that's that's one of the few times where Harrison Ford is a villain in a movie. I think it's a husband and wife drama, and there's a supernatural element about it, or maybe he's just trying to kill her. I don't know. It's Michelle Pfeiffer and Harrison Ford. I've never seen it.
Castaway.
I think I think Castaway is an underrated film. I think it's a good
Okay.
film. You know, some people have a whether right or wrong. Some people have an intense hatred for Tom Hanks. I like him.
I get
But
it.
yeah,
I completely get it.
Yeah.
Do I have a complete hatred for Tom Hanks? No. But like Tom Hanks to me is like certain types of cereal that I haven't eaten since I was a child because I don't want to, and I think of that as something that like for children. And there's something Zemeckis-y, Tom Hanksy, what's his name? Spielbergy about fucking about Tom Hanks. That it just kind of it's there's something a little too cringy. It's I think there's something about him that's very like earnest.
I
And I
don't know if
find that
well, I don't know
huh?
if I don't know what I imagine what you're getting at, and a lot of people, the attitude is he's a little bit too Americana, a little bit too much '50s Make America Great Again. James
I
Stewart,
wouldn't
kind
say
of like
make
that.
America great again because that
What?
might be a little bit too 30s.
Well, he's often
Too
compared
30s
to
for
Henry
me. But,
Fonda, James Stewart. You know what I mean? So it's that.
no, yes, of course. No, I understand. Like, yeah, there's that, but even attached to that is maybe in my fucking like Gen X kind of sensibility. It's just kind of like he's too square, you know.
I got you.
And yeah, and the more I talk about it, the more I dislike it. Polar Express, which I'm like rolling my eyes right now. Beowulf, and I like Christmas season, but moving on.
Yeah.
Beowulf, A Christmas Carol.
Yeah.
So he did his version of it.
Well, that was his motion
Yeah,
motion capture. You know,
capture. Yeah,
Ray Winstone, Jim Carrey, Tom Hanks, all in motion capture with like these fantastic worlds built around this motion capture, and a lot of people felt it looked really creepy. I saw Beowulf. I never saw Christmas Carol or The Polar Express. Neither of them interested me. And then he would do a film called Mars Needs Moms, which was another motion capture, which is one of the biggest bombs in the history of cinema. So I don't know. I mean, he's I would have to say that in the last 10 years or so, he's had a very fallow period where it's just like nothing has really hit. He's somehow lost touch with the culture, and I mean, he just did a film with reuniting him with Robin Wright and Tom Hanks that all took place in a house, one angle, over a period of, I think something like 30 or 40 years, which is kind of an interesting idea, but could also become incredibly boring really quickly. That's the last studio film that he has done. I didn't see it. It came and went.
Yeah.
I don't know anything else.
That's like his career. He's like, his career, I mean, the stories are varied, but it just kind of sounds like it's fucking Robert Zemeckis at that Robert Zemeckis angle, shooting all these different things for almost 50 years, you know?
Yeah.
That's an unfair statement. I don't care. So among all of those films is Flight. And I guess, like, is there something that is there, other than what maybe I'm creating, is like, I'm thinking that there's this like tone, or a series of different like Zemeckis-y type tones. Is it just that Denzel, is it just this is a darker story? It's more, I'm fucked up, I'm drunk, and it's Denzel adding to it. Is that what just makes it stand out in his filmography?
Well, I think it's definitely, yeah. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
But then, well, before you answer, but then he does have that ending that kind of
hopeful
makes it make too much sense. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
is the ending a problem for you in this film?
It's not a problem for me, but part of me wishes he would have. So basically, it's the story of a pilot played by Denzel, who, and don't let me forget what I asked you. Which I probably will, because I just scribbled a note. It's a story about a pilot played by Denzel who he stays up all night with one of the flight attendants, drinking, fucking,
doing coke.
He gets doing like just raging.
Yeah.
He gets on this flight. He's a hotshot fucking pilot, but he's an experienced pilot. He's a veteran. They have crazy turbulence. So he's like, I'm gonna gun through this fucking turbulence, which is already in itself, you're like, whoa. Then they start to experience like all these malfunctions on the plane. He's all fucked up. His co-pilot's like some goody two-shoes guy, which is like, that's what you want, you know?
Yeah.
But not here. Here you need the guy whose wallet says bad motherfucker. And it's not fucking Jules Winfield, our man from Inglewood. It's fucking Denzel. And so he fucking he's doing all these procedures to fucking try to like regain control of the plane. They're in a fucking nosedive. So he's like, I'm gonna invert the fucking plane in order to stabilize it, to level it off. So he does that. So he's flying a fucking commercial fucking plane upside down, and then he fucking force lands in the field. Two of the flight attendants, including like his girlfriend or whatever she is to him, his lover or whatever, she dies, and another one dies, and now it's the fallout, and shit's coming to light, and it's like, well, when you have loss of life, disaster, airline, you're going to have scrutiny, black box, etc., and you're going to have the airline is going to try to prove that it's a manufacturer error, and the manufacturer is trying to prove that it's either a maintenance error or it's a pilot error. So you get a fucking investigation, and more shit is coming out about his fucking estate. And in the climax, it's like Don Cheadle comes in as the fixer lawyer, and he's done everything. John Goodman's in this. We still haven't even gotten into the cast, but John Goodman's bringing the banana boat of drugs to fucking revive Denzel after every night.
That's the adrenaline shot. I think and it's handled better. I think I love that moment. But yeah.
And in the end, fucking spoiler alert. It's a question of the only blood test that's admissible in this. It's not really a hearing, but I guess it is a hearing. But it's not court. But he is under oath when he testifies in front of this panel. The only blood test that's admissible out of the flight crew is, because only 2 came back positive for alcohol. It's his lover's blood test and his is inadmissible because Don Cheadle did his lawyer magic and got rid of it.
That's right.
So
his scumbag lawyer duty.
Lawyer.
Yeah, lawyer. Scumbag lawyer. It's redundant, but he's doing his job. That's his job.
Yeah, I mean that is his fucking job.
You know,
and,
yeah.
And so the it's not necessarily the blame, but it's kind of like they found 3 of those small bottles of.
They found 2 of those small bottles of the 3 that he. Because that's a moment later.
They found 2, and then he's like, I don't know where they all went because there were 3. Yeah,
he was like, yeah. The problem is I drank 3 that day, and Cheadle's like, this motherfucker. God damn it!
Right. Okay, so they found.
Let me help you. Help you.
So they found 2, and they want for those to be accounted for, and so the idea is like, well, are you going to pin this elevated alcohol level on your dead lover's name on her? You're going to put it on her. And part of me would have wanted him to kind of like pivot from that question back to this was a malfunction, so that on the one hand, like, he is able to take blame off of himself, at the same time try to defend his late lover and get this woman who's running the hearing back on track and away from like this kind of like moral argument, because the flight attendant had nothing to do with the flight itself, nothing to do with the flying of the plane, the crashing, the landing, any of that. So that it would, if anything, it would leave that open-ended question of like, we all know it was him. But to thread the needle in such a way that it's like, don't fucking distract. Like, her blood alcohol level has nothing to do with any of this. I don't know about anything else. And have him try to do that, but still be on some level a liar. And then kind of, what does he do after that? And and leave you with that question of like, like that was fucked up, or that was the right thing to do, but it was the wrong way to do it. Something to where you're not settled, but when you leave, I wanted it to be a little bit more ambiguous, and I didn't want him to be redeemed. I did not want him to be redeemed.
I got what you're saying there. I don't know if redeemed is the word that I would use. See, I have a different angle on my viewing of the film, and the way I look at it is, for him to reach this point, to make the choice that he makes in order to carry the weight, first of all, you have to acknowledge that within the context of the film, it's repeated over and over and over again that yes, he was high, yes, he was drunk, but he was the only person that could have done what he did. He's the only person could have saved 96 lives on a plane where there was a manufacturing defect. So in effect, it's like if I were driving drunk, which I did many times, but I handled my drunk driving as well as I could, or by the grace of God or the angels or whatever the fuck you want to believe, I was able to get from point A to point B without killing myself or somebody else. If on one of those occasions somebody had hit me because they weren't paying attention to the rules of the road or the road itself or whatever, the fucking weight of the whole experience would fall on me because I was the one that was drunk. And when you drive drunk as much as I did, that shit plays through your head. What
do you mean the weight of the experience would fall on you? What does that mean?
So let's say that I'm drunk and I'm driving.
I hit you.
And you hit me, yeah. Or you do something, you fuck up. You take a left when you're not supposed to, or you T-bone me in some way, whatever. You hit me. But let's say you were going too fast because you were texting and you were racing to get to some event or something like that. You hit me, you die, but I was the drunk one. That's going to go into the legality of it is I was drunk, and had I not been drunk, I would have been able to at least maneuver that situation, or at least I would have had a greater possibility of maneuvering that situation so as to not experience that accident, and you would not be drunk, regardless of whether or not you hit me.
I mean, I don't know about the legality of that. I don't know about that argument.
I don't know. Well, let's look at it this way. Lawyers have a way of manipulating the scenario.
I mean, that's the game, yeah.
That's the game. So that shit could, and you know what? And somebody has to pay. And they say it a couple of times in the movie, somebody has to pay. The pilot is the one. And when you have somebody who is an alcoholic, a drug abuser, a self-hating motherfucker in the way that Denzel Washington is in this film, it's easy to scapegoat. It's easy to put it on him. So there's all of that. The conflict becomes murkier water because those people are alive. Those 96 people are alive with scrapes and bruises and concussions, but they're alive because this pilot is as skilled as he is. However, he was drunk and he was high, which the manufacturers are going to jump on that point. And it throws out whatever kind of whatever kind of skill that you brought to that situation. He was drunk, so it becomes him. Now, when you're watching it, I'm empathetic in that sense. So the question as it plays out in the film is, should your skill or the talents that you bring to a situation undo any kind of harm or unprofessionalism or responsibility in this case that you
Right.
have to that job.
Mhm.
What I like about this film is it doesn't avoid that question, but also it couches it, and this is why it works for me in a way that it doesn't work for you. I believe that everything that has happened from the moment that he wakes up in that hotel room, takes a drink, fights with his wife, argues with his wife as his lover is walking around naked in the room, and then does that line. And then the Joe Cocker tune cuts in, which I love that moment. That's one of my favorite uses of a song in a movie. I love that. It says a lot. So with all of that, the alcoholism that it's exhibited throughout the film and progresses and gets worse. You see his best friend. You see the self-pitying. You see the struggle to get sober on his own, and then that moment where he relapses and all of that, and the dealing with it. The argument becomes: is the redemption at the end of the film, the change that he makes, earned? Would a guy do this? Now, this is where you as a viewer bring your own sensibilities and placing yourself into the life of the character. This is where the empathy comes in, where you have to ask yourself, if I allow the alcohol to fall on, at this point, the soul of this young woman who I was having an affair with, and my slate is wiped clean, does that push me further and further into the darkness that I've been living in? And there's a moment earlier in the film where Bruce Greenwood's character, the union rep, the head of the union, president of the union, he starts telling him what to do, and Denzel just looks at him and is like, "Don't tell me how to lie about my drinking. I've been lying about my drinking my whole fucking life." I love that moment. Mm-hmm. That moment right there, whether or not I'm reading into it or not, it's telling me that this is a man who's reaching the end of the line and is at a crossroads and knows, if I take the right road, I'm never going to be able to come back. If I take the left fork, I can save my soul. And
yeah, I mean,
I believe in that, you know?
This is like his first fucking he hits rock bottom.
He hits rock
basically,
bottom.
And he's like, I'm gonna fucking. That's why he does the AA thing, and he's like, because I'm an alcoholic in front of everyone. Yeah, it's kind of like when Ellen was at the airport and was like, I'm gay. It's that. It's on the mic, and I mean, hers was like not meant for everyone to hear in that iconic, supposedly like TV moment. Not supposedly, but you know what I mean. Like, iconic in terms of like what it meant socially. Yeah. To the culture, culturally. Yeah. I don't like it. but it's that, and 100%. I get it. Like,
well, the thing is it earned? Is it believable? And I think with a guy like Denzel performing it, a lot of actors would have not been able to achieve that. So for me, I get what you're saying, and I like that ending as well. But there is something about redemption. This is not Hays Code. I've done wrong. Now I must be punished and then be brought to the light. You know, to not have my spiritual. When I say that the Hays Code, it's not required.
It's not required.
That's what I'm talking
Um,
about. So in this case, it becomes a question of, is it genuine or is it feel good bullshit to absolve ourselves from whatever sins we've created in our lives? Because there's an aspect of when you watch this film where you have to reflect on your own demons and you have to ask yourself, well, I have been fall down drunk. I have made bad decisions. It could have ended badly for me. Um, do I accept my role in the shitstorm that I've made out of my life? Or do I continue to just bullshit myself into thinking I've had it rough? That's why I drink. I think with something like this, I don't know how good the writing is because I'm focusing on the performance and the selling of the situation. And it's not a small thing, and I'm not saying that it comes easy to Denzel Washington as an actor. He had to dig deep, and when I believe that that moment where he's struggling with telling the truth, knowing if I tell them the truth, I'm going to prison for 10 years.
yeah, he says, "God help me."
God help me, yeah. But I believe
Yeah.
it. And it fucking, it really affects me because it's like, you watch a movie like this and you ask yourself, how many times have I made those mistakes? How many times have I fucked up in a way that I shouldn't have been able to come back from? The movie is extreme, but life has a way of being extreme.
I mean, yeah.
You know what I mean? And everybody,
Yeah.
it's not just me, but I'm the one watching it, so it's my experience, and fuck anything that anybody else feels about it. It's the connection that I have with it. Um, I hope that you as a viewer can experience it the way that I do because it's powerful. It really is powerful. It's a moment where you take a step back and you look at your life, or at least I do. This is me talking about something that I'm connecting with. And as I connect with these actions and these mistakes and this selfishness and this level of self-destruction, I understand in a way that maybe I didn't get while it was happening. And I think a lot of people do that that is how great art, that's one aspect of how great art resonates with us, where it forces us to look inward and ask ourselves questions that maybe we either didn't want to ask or weren't even aware that we should be asking. Because I don't know if this guy realizes he's the miserable fuck that he is. It just gets darker. I'm talking about in the beginning. You know what I mean? When the hand gets forced.
At that point this is just it's just gonna be what you think, what I think, but I do tend I get a sense that it's like, well, this is how he got into it in the first place. Like when it goes from party time to coping time, a lot of times it's the you get into the party because you're coping to begin with, and you're masking the pain, or the emptiness or whatever it is, and that's why he has this love interest, played by Kelly Reilly. She's one time on a plane. I don't know if I don't know if it was our honeymoon. I don't fucking remember. But Leslie and I like binged like all these episodes of Yellowstone.
Yeah.
And we kind of just left it at that. We haven't returned to it. Because we don't need another fucking like
another shackle on your soul. Yeah.
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 But she's great in fucking Yellowstone. And
yeah, she's great in a lot of stuff I've seen her. Yeah. It's a good show.
Yeah, I haven't seen her in a lot, but she just great at what I can remember is just this and Yellowstone, and they're both these characters that are like fucked up, damaged, which I mean every character and every human being is that for the most part, but on obviously on different levels. But she's just really good at those characters.
Yeah.
And there's a moment where they meet in the stairwell of a hospital after his crash and after she's OD'd. And this goes back to, before I even get into that, but it's the soundtrack you mentioned, to Joe Cocker.
Mm-hmm.
The soundtrack is, this is kind of, you've said stuff similar about like, oh, this is a better movie than it deserves to be, about different films, but the soundtrack to me is better than what it's used for.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Let's dive into that.
I feel like it's better. Huh?
Let's dive into that.
But this is a tangent off of Kelly Reilly, but it's better than what it's used for. It's better than the way in which it's used. To me, it feels like, and Zemeckis, I mean, he knows how to use music. He's Forrest Gump is a good example of that. But to me, it just, I don't know. It just felt like out of the Scorsese kind of page.
Okay.
And I don't know if it's just, and it's not just because of the Rolling Stones.
Well, the sympathy for the devil thing was obvious. I like the Joe Cocker, but the sympathy for the devil thing was obvious.
There's also, I mean, the Cowboy Junkies, like Sweet Jane during the heroin scene, and it just kind of, I don't know. I just think it was just
too spot on, too obvious.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, I think there's more to it than that. I think a lot of it is more just how you. It's not really about. It's not something that I can say. Well, I'm going to articulate it in this way, and then everyone's going to understand what I mean. I think it's easier to be like, for example, like Pulp Fiction. A lot of those music choices, you wouldn't say. Of course, they picked that. It's just kind of, you're like, oh, okay, Al Green, interesting. Okay, cool. Fucking Dick Dale, Misery Lou, is not something that I think that was just inspired. I think the choices in that film, and it also, I mean, the Reservoir Dogs also, like they've come to be associated with that movie or with those movies, and they have their own. It's almost like you find the logic in it after.
Yeah.
Whereas this, it felt like he was trying to find the logic in it first.
Well, I think part of it is when you compare Tarantino, Pulp Fiction to this, there is an aspect, Reservoir Dogs, especially with Reservoir Dogs. These are more obscure songs, like Little Green Bag. I had never heard that song until the movie. Stuck in the Middle with You. I didn't know Steelers Wheels. But the Stones, how can you not know the Stones? Joe Cocker, how can you not know Joe Cocker? So, using Red Hot Chili Peppers Under the Bridge during a heroin overdose. It's these are all very popular songs. And particularly popular for the way we grew up, and from what we came out of. I mean, this was the advent of you would see the Stones in commercials and shit like that. So I don't know. I mean, I'm in agreement with you, but I think an element of that is the popularity of a song. I think that plays into it a little bit. If you're going to compare him to something like a Tarantino, although I would say Meserlou is very inspired.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it was just, it didn't feel organic to me. This felt like I want to use like some cool songs, which is, that's cool, because I mean, everyone like, it's like, yeah, like I would want to use cool songs too.
Yeah, but it can't be too spot on. Sympathy for the Devil with John Goodman walking into the room, that's a little bit too obvious. Under the Bridge, too obvious during a heroin overdose. But then you have the Joe Cocker thing sticks with me because it's like I've never seen that song used that way. I don't see that song getting played in movies too often, but to I'm feeling all right, I'm not feeling too good myself. It's I thought that one was a little bit inspired. I love that, but I love that song as well. But then you go use Bill Withers and Ain't No Sunshine, and it's like it's too obvious.
I mean, even I'm feeling all right. Like I think that's also obvious, but I get.
Yeah, but I wasn't expecting it, so it was like it kind of just, and the way the camera zooms in there, it's
yeah.
I like that. That one I liked a lot. I'll give him a pass on that one.
Going back to the stairwell, so Kelly Reilly, and then there's this dude with terminal cancer, and the three of them are smoking cigarettes in the stairwell. Someone who's fucking hanging on to fucking cancer, hanging on to life with cancer, someone who survived a heroin overdose, and someone who survived a fucking horrific plane disaster. And the cancer guy is kind of like joking around, kind of half philosophizing, and kind of questioning, like, what is the, you know, it's leading everyone to wonder about, you know, what is there anything guiding this? Is it all meaningless? Is it all random? This goes back to the question, for example, of like, in that disaster, is it considered an act of God?
Yeah.
Is it just mechanical failure? Is it just fucking the pilot was fucked up? Is it just a storm plus this plus that? Or is it just all equal? Like, this is what was going to happen in that fucking moment. Is it like fucking going back to Pulp Fiction when they don't get shot, when the bullets miss them? And is it a miracle? According to Hoyle, you know?
Is the hand of God came out and stopped them fucking bullets?
That's right.
Yeah.
And you know, it's a fucking miracle, and you will acknowledge it. So the idea for everything to go back and fucking be tied together in the sense of like, and I get it. Like, look, this is a movie.
Yeah.
You want, in a movie, in a Hollywood movie, you want the characters to start in one place, and you want him to end in the completely opposite place. But it also has to be, as David Mamet like talks about Aristotle's view of drama, it has to be in a way that's both surprising and inevitable.
Well, you know, you
and that's what we get.
You know, you started this episode comparing it to Bad Lieutenant, basically Bad Lieutenant in the Sky.
Not as bad, but
not as bad. No, not as bad, but that level of sinking deeper and deeper into addiction. and the
And
cost
sacrifice.
and sacrifice. Yeah, that the David Mamet quote pans out there. The surprise of it, but also the change.
The inevitability. Yeah.
Yeah, the inevitability of the change and the surprise of it. You don't expect Keitel to get shot like that in that way and it to come to an end like that. But there is a party that knows it's coming. It ends badly. The question with this is the inevitability. You're either going to bullshit your way out of a situation, and if you've lived long enough in this world, especially in this country, in this court system, and seeing how the money dictates and the money decides who goes free and who suffers. Will Denzel's character, Will Whip, beat this thing? But in doing so, how much of his soul is sacrificed?
Mm-hmm.
So there's that inevitability versus the inevitability of him reaching a point where he understands, if I don't make this choice, I die. Because for me to get away with this shit is just going to embolden me even further. I had a friend once told me, he was telling me about cocaine, and he said he tried it one time, and he told me, I knew that if I did it again, I would never stop doing it. Now that might be an exaggeration, or it might be an honest examination.
I mean, yeah, it sounds like someone who he knows, you know.
Well, he knows other
himself.
drugs, and he knows himself. To thine own self be true. If you're gonna go biblical on you, yeah, it's like, and I think there's this understanding of this character of being an alcoholic. I mean, Denzel's character is probably early 50s at this point in this film. I imagine he's been an alcoholic for a good 30 years. 25 years at least. Or at least
That
building towards that. What's up?
Like, that character was probably drinking since he was like as soon as he hit puberty, he probably, you know?
Yeah. You've known guys like that. I've known guys like that. Some people get it under control. Some people, and this is the worst thing, and this is that character. Some people learn how to live with it. And that's both his gift and his curse. Being able to get fucked up and be a functional alcoholic. That's sometimes worse than being a fall down drunk.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's that he knows how to wear that mask.
Mm-hmm.
And it's you mentioned try their own self be true. That's fucking Hamlet. That's it's not Hamlet who says it, but Hamlet does. It's the to be his stuff. That
Mm-hmm.
famous speech is to be or not to be, where he's pretending to be crazy and suicidal.
I always thought it was biblical. Okay, yeah, I forgot.
And Hamlet's like, that is the fucking question. Like, to be or not to be, that is the question. Whether it is nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune. Denzel Washington's character's fucking been just flying through the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, and it's like to lie or to not lie, you know?
Yeah, but you make that choice, and you know you can never come back from it. So it's is it earned? Is his redemption earned? I think it is. That's why I don't have a problem with the film. Yeah,
I do. I just I think that while it is earned, it is the strokes are too broad. The balance on the scale is too even. Now it shows him like he's in prison. He's fucking talking to other prisoners. His son comes to see him. And then they throw in another fucking like emotional fucking cherry on top, which is his son's doing this report or whatever for school, where it's like the most interesting person you've never met, and it's his fucking dad. But he came to do he came to interview his dad or whatever, and then like that's when you go like, oh, and it's just kind of like, okay, you know, versus again, and I'm not trying to fucking rewrite the movie, but like, what would have been had he pivoted away from that question about his late lover, defended her without incriminating himself, sticking to his guns about the malfunction, getting away with it, basically. Well, not getting away with it, but because it wasn't his fault, but getting away from the fact that he was fucked up. And then now he walks out feeling like shit. Because although he's free, he's not free. And now what? That's not a fucking Hollywood movie. Maybe it is, but it's not most of the time what we get. Because then it's like people feel like, well, I feel ripped off because I didn't get a fucking ending, or I don't know what happens. And I don't want to. It becomes like, for example, had Aronofsky made this movie, he would have gotten out of it and gotten right back on a plane drinking.
Yeah.
That
would have been a good film too.
Maybe not. But the idea of like Mickey Rourke flying through the air, and it's kind of like we know what's going to happen, but it's not. But we don't see it, and that's better.
But I don't know. I don't know that it's better. It's its own thing, and it's good. Yeah, Mickey Rourke dies at the end of that thing, but he's
would it have been better to see him die and to be like, you didn't have to show it. The fact that there's still enough doubt where it's like, did he die or did he die in the next one? You know what I mean?
Yeah, but it's also he died as he lived, and he found his purpose, and he it's all there in the speech with Marissa Tomei right before, and she's, I'm here. It was like, the only place I don't get hurt is in there. You know, now I'm gonna go back in there. I'm gonna let them beat the shit out of me a little bit more, you know, because it's all I know. It's a self-pity and kind of reinforcement of my own weakness. This isn't a bow tie. I don't think this is the ribbon that it looks like. If you dig a little bit deeper, you see this is a guy who's going to struggle with alcoholism for the rest of his life. This is a guy that's in prison. That when he gets out at 50, in 5 years, he'll be close to 60. What the fuck is he supposed to do then? You could read in, you can anticipate the pain that's going to continue in his life as this thing goes on. Because this doesn't end well for him. He's gotten some kind of peace in controlling his demons, but now another struggle. He picks up another struggle. He picks up the struggle of living. But it doesn't have to. It's that's open-ended in the same way that Mickey Rourke leaps. You kind of but you don't know.
He's in prison, but he's never felt so free.
He's free of the demon, but that doesn't mean that doesn't mean that his life is right. Because he's saying, I'm going to be here for another 5 to 6 years. What happens then? He can't fly again. He'll never be able to fly again. He can't do the thing that he does. He's going to be a 50-some-year-old man walking free. What does his life become then?
Jules.
Yeah. Wandering around, eating the shit I throw away. A fucking bum. And I think it's not as cut and dry. It's not the happy ending that you're saying. It's a happy ending.
I mean,
it's a deceptive happy.
It's not a happy ending.
It's a deceptive happy ending.
Yeah, it's the ending that it is.
Mm-hmm. It's a false happy ending because, well, yeah, it's a false happy ending because you walk away from it thinking, oh my God, this guy is enlightened now, and he's conquered this demon. No, he hasn't. He might drink again. Well, we don't know what the fuck's gonna happen with this guy. Part 2. I don't want to see a part 2. This is good. This is good the way it is. I'm happy with this meal, okay?
The landing was too fucking smooth. It may not be the bowl that you say I think it is.
I don't think you. I don't know if you think it's that. I think that's the way it sounds. But I think you want a darker ending, and I think there's There's not a darker ending here. There's a darker reality that if you start asking if you start pulling the strings and the sweater starts coming apart. That's all I'm saying with that, is that it's not as happy an ending as it would appear.
Now, this goes back to the question when I was like, how it stands out in fucking Zemeckis' filmography. I just think it's
well, it's heavier. It's only
just out there. Yeah.
In Zemeckis' filmography, which we're talking probably 20 plus movies, 25, 30 movies maybe. It's only the second R-rated film after Used Cars. So there was like almost a 30-year period between R-rated films, and that might not seem like a lot to people, but to bring adult storytelling into the parameters of PG-13 means that the film is, as far as I'm concerned, story-wise compromised in its depiction of the real world.
Trespass wasn't R? Oh, but that again, that's not really his, like, that's not, yeah.
He didn't direct. That's R,
right.
But that's Walter Hill. For Walter Hill to not make an R-rated film is a questionable thing. That's the opposite. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So this is, he makes safer films. But
is that the All About Survival? It's All About Getting Yours? Is that movie?
Yeah. Yeah. That's two white guys find a map, and they go to East St. Louis and they start tearing up this abandoned factory. And that's when Ice Cube and Ice-T are just happen to be there executing somebody during a drug deal gone wrong. It's actually a lot of fun. It's not a good movie, but it's a lot of fun. And Hill was the premier action director of the 1980s. So that movie's like 1990 or something like that. He was already he was at the waning part of his career. But with I'll say this much for Zemeckis. His films are a lot darker than they appear to be. I mean, Back to the Future had a hard time getting funded because, think about it, this is a guy whose mother falls in love with him. That's a weird sell. If it just that alone, but it works within the context of the story that they're telling because it's a lot more innocent. Like, it's not as creepy as it sounds. As creepy as that sounds to say.
Yeah, it's not as you tell it.
Yeah, it's creepy as fuck. But it's
it is.
Yeah.
I mean, and people have always said that, and they've always known that.
Yeah. But that was a hard sell for them when they made the movie back in 86 or 85, whenever it was. What Lies Beneath is about a husband trying to kill his wife. 1941 is that's a Spielberg directed film, but that's the paranoia and the craziness of Los Angeles after Pearl Harbor. In a film that was originally called 1941. It was originally called The Night the Japs Attacked.
Nice.
Can you 1970s racism is a whole other level. Used cars is an asshole used car salesman who wants to become a senator, who's willing to buy and says it straight off. And, I buy the selection, I get in, I split 50-50 graph with whoever helps me, and but it's a good examination of politics. And if you listen to the commentary, it's hilarious because they're talking about how fucked up these guys are and how they resemble a certain governor out of Arkansas that hilarious just to listen to them talk about it. Who Framed Roger Rabbit? That's dark.
Yeah,
that's really dark.
Yeah, Forrest Gump is fucked up.
Incest, child abuse, fucking war, post-traumatic stress disorder on both a veteran and a young girl and the Robin Wright character who has, I don't know if justly or unjustly, been maligned over the last 30 years because she's an abusive bitch in the film. But she was also abused and fucked up, and it'd be really interesting to go back to that.
She's like the Courtney Love of fucking movie characters.
Yeah, there's a shotgun. So there is. He's a darker filmmaker. Contact has, I haven't seen it, but isn't Contact a Big Daddy issue film? I mean, I'm basing what I've heard.
She's trying to find her dad through aliens.
Yeah, isn't there like some? It's like Big Daddy issue shit, right? I don't know. I can't speak to it.
I mean, the right stuff was mommy issues. This is.
I'm just.
Yeah, I mean, they're all fucking. It's like all space movies.
Yeah.
Are about your parents, from Star Wars to Star Trek to whatever.
Yeah.
No, I mean, yes, it has that the element of the relationship between Jodie Foster's character and I think it's David Morse who plays her dad.
Oh, always great, David Morse. Love that guy.
And it's got fucking Angela Bassett, it's got John Hurt, it's got James Woods.
Yeah.
I think Tom Skerritt's in it. It's I remember we would watch it in school.
What movie?
Yeah. So I mean is it great? No, but it's fun,
Yeah. I will say this much. He is one of the best directors of popular cinema that emerged out of the 80s, the late 70s into the 80s and the 90s. And he always made reliable films as far as being able to entertain. But I think there was a little bit of more of a darkness there. And I don't think he gets the credit that he deserves. He's not up there with. He's like a low rent Spielberg in a weird way. He's not as great. Yeah, So he doesn't fit with those guys, but he's a lot better than the reputation would suggest. So I like him. I personally think he's great.
Spielberg?
What's that?
I said, who's a high rent Spielberg?
I don't know. Spielberg sets the most successful filmmaker in the history of film. Steven Spielberg. There's nobody else that compares to him.
Now, going back to Denzel,
Mm-hmm.
Denzel has such a fucking filmography.
Yeah.
Like he's worked for a long time. This is 2012. I was, last time when we were talking about Denzel and Tony Scott, we were talking about what different time periods and shit like that. And this is after the stuff that he's done with that he did with Tony Scott. So this is after Man on Fire. This is after Taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3. This is after Unstoppable. This is like right after Unstoppable.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
After the Book of Eli.
Mm-hmm.
This is already, it's starting to be an older Denzel.
Yeah.
Is there any trend, or is there anything you see in terms of like the kind of characters that he had started to play, or is it just kind of varied throughout?
Well, it's weird. Denzel's had one of those careers where he's been popular since he really arrived on screen in Carbon Copy in '81, I think it was, where he played George Segal's son. That's the first time that I ever saw him. He was like 20 something years old. He had a charm to him. And it would go into like he played Stephen Biko in Cry Freedom, which should have been about him, but he was more of a supporting role in his own film. That was more about the white South African reporter played by Kevin Kline. But that's all race, and we've talked about that numerous times. We've beaten that fucking horse. I don't know. I would have to say that Denzel Washington, I don't know if the characters he plays have a certain dignity to them, or if Denzel brings that in by virtue of himself and the performance that he gives, the reading that he gives he's one of those actors that when he's on screen you're riveted. I'll say that I without reservation. When Denzel Washington is on the screen, I can't take my eyes off of what I'm watching. I'm invested. I'm there. I haven't seen the new Gladiator film, mostly because I don't want to be disappointed, but even in something like who's the drug dealer that he plays in American Gangster? Frank Price? No, Frank
Frank
White, yeah. And that's like I think that was his first collaboration with Ridley Scott. He brings a level.
Lucas?
Frank Lucas. Yeah, Frank Lucas. That's an amazing performance. He brings a certain level of, he elevates. I'll say this fully well knowing how it's gonna be taken as being a little bit too fanboy, but he elevates whatever he's in. He just raises it to another level because he finds the humanity in the film, in the character that he's playing. There's a certain nobility in every performance that he gives, and he makes you want to invest even more in it. And he could take a horrible shit of a character like Alonzo, whatever the fuck. Who's that cocksucker that came out of Rampart that he's playing?
Oh, the Rafael Perez is the one that got like the.
He's basically playing Rafael Perez. But there's something, this man is evil, and yet you continue to invest. And you can see the snake charm, the drawing you in, the although I think that movie's ridiculous in a lot of respects, it's fun. But that movie would be nothing without Denzel Washington in that role.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah. That movie would be cartoonish and laughable if it weren't for Denzel Washington in that role. And I think, yeah.
Not to cut you off, but I think that's that's up there with all of with cinema's portrayals of the devil. I think that's
he is the devil in that movie.
He's the devil in that film. And there's that. But sorry, go on.
But you Malcolm X, even the problems that I have with Malcolm X, which are not problems that I have with the film, not problems I have with the performance, problems I have with the man being so consumed by his own salvation, so as to miss what is obvious.
The red flags?
Yes. It's still, there's never a point when I don't believe the character that Denzel Washington somehow makes it believable that a guy would be so consumed by the love that he has for Elijah Muhammad that it's I believe it. I buy into it. I'm totally sold out. Maybe I'm the wrong person to talk to, because I sit there and I don't see too many false notes in his performances. Hurricane Carter, great performance. I want to see Mississippi Masala. I want to see him as a romantic lead.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't know if we've seen that in anything else. And Fences. Oh my God, he's so good in Fences. He's an asshole in Fences. You haven't seen it? You got to see it.
Mm-mm.
He directed. It's him, Viola Davis, and a couple other people. It's the adaptation of August Wilson's stage play, which is interesting because when Washington directed it 7 or 8 years ago, he played the father, where in the original stage production, he played the son with James Earl Jones as the father.
Oh.
So.
Is that the piece where the dad is like, nigger, I don't know, owe you anything, blah, blah, I'll have to feed you?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's it.
I've seen clips of James Earl Jones with another actor.
Mm-hmm. I think it's Courtney B. Vance. I can't be sure, but I think, yeah.
And it was just captivating,
mm-hmm.
and obviously just James Earl Jones,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But I think Denzel played the son on stage.
Yeah.
But here he is playing the father. One thing about Denzel Washington is that he's not afraid to be the man that he is. A lot of actors that if, even at his age, if they knew they were going to be shirtless in the opening scene, they would have lost weight.
Mm-hmm.
Now, he's not incredibly out of shape, but he's in the shape of a 50-some-year-old man who drinks too much and does coke. But he's lying there he don't have the six pack. He's not the beautiful Denzel of Hurricane, or in the other films that he's worked out hard in, where he's he
just looks like a normal person.
He looks like a normal man.
Obviously.
He's like, no, I'm not putting in that work.
I still got the fine flight attendant girl.
Mm-hmm.
So that's, as an actor, that speaks to that part,
Yeah.
I haven't seen him in Macbeth, and
it's great. I love it. I loved it. It's worth getting Apple One. Next month, his newest Spike Lee film, his newest film, Highest to Lowest, premieres on Apple One. So if I were you, and if I were anybody else listening, I would wait till that film dropped, because it's hard to see it in the theater, but you'll be able to see it on Apple One. And I'd watch Macbeth, directed by, I'm not sure if it's Joel or Ethan Coen, but it's one of the Coen brothers directing. Frances McDermott playing Lady Macbeth, and she's great. The two of them together. Brendan Gleeson's in it, and there's a couple other names that I can't remember, but it's black and white. It's beautifully shot. It's very surrealistic in the staging, because it's not a natural. It's not real. It's all staged, and it's wondrous to look at. But it's going to be that. It's going to be Highest to Lowest that I saw this past Tuesday, and I got to say, I was really taken in, and the difficulty with the film like that is Spike Lee is remaking my favorite Kurosawa film after Seven Samurai, a masterpiece, a film that we talked about. I don't remember when, but it was one of my happiest. It was one of my happiest moments of doing this show, is that you had never seen the film. Yeah. You had never seen the film, remember?
I don't know, but I think you're asking me if I remember, but I'm like, I think it might have been one of the ones that I don't remember if I had seen it or not.
I think you hadn't seen it, and we talked about it, and we were both in it's episode 467 from November of 2023. And we had seen the samurai films, and we had seen a handful of his other films, and we had talked about them. But this was the film where I said, you got to see this, and you got to, I think it's an incredible film. And I stand by that. And Spike Lee does a really good job of reinterpreting it. And what he says, he's not making a straight remake of Kurosawa's film. What he's doing is he's doing jazz. That's kind of how he described it. He's doing his version, a jazz version, and it has moments that are just great. And Spike Lee is still at the top of his game, I think. It's not as good as... It's definitely not as good as Malcolm X, but it's easily on par with Inside Man, better than Mo Better Blues, better than... I love He Got Game, but I think it's better than He Got Game, you know?
Really? I think that might be... That's one of my favorite Spike Lee movies.
He Got Game? Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I have to go... I would love to go back to it. I'd love to watch that movie again. It's been years since I've seen it, but this is... It fucking pains me to know that this movie's out there and nobody's going to get to see it because of the way the business is going, streaming, and all this other bullshit involved in no longer giving films the proper respect that they deserve. But shit changes. But I'd be really interested in watching this film with you, and then sitting down and discussing how it veers off of Kurosawa's film, but also is I mean, it really sticks to the story, the idea of what Kurosawa, and the struggle that Denzel's character David King faces is very real, very honest, and very relatable. If you could imagine such a thing. Yeah, it's a lot. It'll be premiering on Apple One next month. I think the 5th of next month. So gear up to watch that. If you're going to have Apple One, you might as well watch Macbeth while you're at it, and then it's a good time.
And Denzel's one of the ones that it's at least we can say, well, it'll be interesting to watch him as he ages. And
we talked about this last week. De Niro, 82, Pacino, 86, Scorsese, 85 or something. Joe Pesci's old. Coppola, Brian De Palma. Spike Lee is in his 70s. Denzel Washington is 70. There's nobody replacing these guys. Nobody could. But at the same time, there's nobody coming up that I think, yeah, that's a guy that I want to watch. Denzel Washington, I have been watching for a long time, and if he's in a movie, boom, I go. So,
as you should.
Yeah.
As you fucking should. buymeacoffee.com/watchRickRamos. buymeacoffee.com/watchRickRamos. Do what you can. Keep us caffeinated. Keep listening. Keep watching. This one goes to Mr. Burroughs. Thank you. Goodbye.